No riches from his scanty store my lover could impart. He gave a boon I valued more, he gave me all his heart. His soul sincere, his generous worth, might well this bosom move, and when I asked for bliss on earth, I only meant his love. But now for me, in search of gain, from shore to shore he flies. Why wander riches to obtain, when love is all I prize? The frugal meal, the lowly cot, if bless my love with thee, that simple fare, that humble lot, were more than wealth to me. While he the dangerous ocean braves, my tears but vainly flow. Is pity in the faithless waves, to which I pour my woe? The night is dark, the waters deep, yet soft the billows roll. Alas, at every breeze I weep, the storm is in my soul. This poem laments the absence of a loved one who has departed to travel the world to plunder riches. She wails that she isn't interested in material wealth and possessions, so why is he bothering? And why isn't he back at home with her? The metre of this poem is very regular. The first and third lines use iambic tetrameter, in which every other syllable is stressed within a 4-beat line. No riches from his scanty store. Whilst the second and fourth lines are shorter and use iambic trimeter. In this stanza, the shorter lines draw attention to the lover's absence. We build up within the longer first and third line, only to be left disappointed, and as though something or someone is missing. Notice here the way the natural word order has been switched in lines 1 to 2, something known as anastrophe. We would expect the subject and main verb to begin the sentence, i.e., my lover could impart no riches. The effect of this is to emphasize her lover's lack of wealth from the beginning, something which we find out doesn't matter one jot within the fourth line of this opening stanza. He gave me all his heart. Also note that within this stanza we have the anaphoric repetition of he gave within consecutive lines, which seems to stand contrary to the no riches comment. The persona is keen to suggest that giving and being generous need not just refer to the ability to bestow material gifts or possessions, but actually that giving love and emotional warmth can be far more valuable. He gave me all his heart, all one-syllable words, reflecting the straightforward, simple joy that can come from valuing love and people ahead of riches and social standing, say. However, there are signs in stanza 2 that all may not be well, in spite of the revelation about the loved one's open declaration of love towards the persona. Note that move and love look like they rhyme. This is an I rhyme, but don't quite. This is an early hint of discordance within the world of a song. Just as you might expect giving to refer to gifts or money within stanza 1, here in stanza 2 we might expect the adjective generous to refer to the persona being spoilt rotten with various presents from her darling loved one. But no, character and integrity are far more important for this seemingly non-materialistic persona. In the third stanza, we learn that this generous giving man is miles and miles away at sea in search of plunder and riches. We get a sense of the speedy, unscrupulous nature of his voyage. From shore to shore he flies. He's most certainly not arriving at various exotic locations to make friends or to learn about the local culture, but to acquire as much wealth as he can as quickly as he can. And so we have a conflict between the two. The absent male implicitly feels that he needs to acquire wealth. The passive, waiting female is simply left to dust her figurative phone. This is deeply frustrating, given that she declares she would be prepared to put up with a cheap, plain, small-portioned meal, and a metaphorical simple bed and home, a lowly cot, if it meant that they could be together, safe, at that moment. Note the use of anaphora in line 15. That simple fare, that humble lot, which emphasizes with two different phrases that she needs very little other than her loved one's presence and love to feel fulfilled and at peace with herself. Note the huge contrast in the quantity of water described in this stanza. The man is braving the dangerous ocean, whilst the woman is crying. Whilst the common image of water in theory links them, the huge discrepancy between them highlights just how far apart they are at present. The persona recognizes the futility of her crying, but we have a sense of the persona's loneliness and isolation, as seen in the helpless rhetorical question, "Is pity in the faithless waves to which I pour my woe?" Not dissimilar to dusting the phone, when the neurotic persona talks about the phone ringing and the possibility of a disaster before asking feebly, in which case, who would ring me to tell? The vastness of the ocean and the darkness accentuate the persona's feelings of helplessness and fear. In some ways, the fact that the waves rolling to and fro don't make that much noise makes it all the more ominous and unsettling. The final line of the poem sees the persona shifting from imagining her loved one in a storm at sea to positioning the storm metaphorically within her soul and heart. In other words, her soul feels battered, buffeted, and torn asunder due to her fears about the safety of her loved one, leaving her entire being at risk of being permanently damaged. Time now to move to an exam-style question, this one from May 2018. Let's try using a song for this question and explore how this poem presents relationships which lead to suffering. Have a go at planning topic sentences and juicy quotations which could be weaved into an outstanding essay. Make some specific points about the way the poem presents relationships which lead to suffering, and find some quotations which not only back up your points, but lend themselves to detailed AO2 analysis. Get started, it's pause time. Within my plan, I like the idea of kicking off with a point about the absence of the loved one at sea causing pain and angst. I would then use the quotation, "In search of gain from shore to shore he flies," to give more insight as to why the loved one is away from her and causing her so much heartache. In another topic sentence, I would point out that the two partners appear to have differing values and priorities, which have resulted in the female being left helpless, passive, and unhappy. To back up this point, I would reference the frustrated rhetorical question, "Why wander riches to obtain when love is all I prize?" Finally, I would explore the fact that the female partner's suffering is intensified by her imagination, and the fact that she has no idea whether her loved one is safe and well or drowned at the bottom of an ocean thousands of miles away. I would then integrate the quotation, "The storm is in my soul," to highlight the amount of suffering she is now experiencing due to her fears and the lack of updates on her loved one's well-being. Here's how a model paragraph might look. In a song, the absence of the loved one at sea causes pain and angst. We learn that the errant male, in search of gain from shore to shore he flies. It is clear that he is traversing the seas in hope of plundering riches or gain from unsuspecting exotic lands. The use of the verb flies implies the unthinking speed with which he moves between different lands and communities. This is clearly an entirely self-centered pursuit, with no interest whatsoever in building new relationships or learning about other cultures. From the persona's point of view, she is deeply frustrated that this quest is apparently for her, yet she would much prefer the man to be at home loving her, something reflected in the bewildered rhetorical question within the third stanza.